Today we are going to be discussing what is, in my opinion, the greatest rivalry in the history of Japanese Puroresu in Mitsuharu Misawa versus Kenta Kobashi. The two are incredible combatants as well as incredible teammates. They shared the ring together 668 times from November 24th, 1988 to May 2nd, 2009, a mere month before Misawa's untimely passing. 641 of those being in tag matches. They faced off against each other 225 times, which after some quick math means they teamed up 442 times. 18 of those being one-on-one. And they wrestled in 10 battle royals as well, which Kenta Kobashi won 2 of them. Stats brought to you by CageMatch.net. That sounded like they're a sponsor of this video, but just wanted to give the wonderful website a shout out. Now for this video, I'm going to be focusing more on the one-on-one matches, but we'll be talking about some of the tag matches in passing. A lot of significant moments for these two men would involve each other some way or another, so we'll be talking about some of the high points of these two men's careers. For instance, the first time these two ever shared a ring together was in a tag match on Day 5 of All Japan's 1988 Real Tag League, where Kenta Kobashi teamed up with Takashi Ishikawa, and they took on Tiger Mask 2 and Jimmy Snuka, as Jimmy Snuka and Tiger Mask 2 were a part of the Real Tag League that year, so obviously that team would go on to get the win there. They wouldn't face each other in 1989 due to Mitsuharu Misawa tearing his ACL in his NWA title match with Ricky Steamboat, taking him out for the remainder of that year. While Misawa recovered, Kenta Kobashi was going through his second year as being a young lion. Misawa would return to in-ring action at the New Year's Giant Series annual battle royal that would main event Korakuen Hall to kick off the year. It would be during this tour that the two men teamed up for the first time, taking on the British Bulldogs. Their first singles match against each other takes place on March 6, 1990, on the final night of the Excite Series tour. This would be the only time these two would wrestle one-on-one at the Excite Series tour. This event took place at Nippon Budokan, which would be Kobashi's 8th time wrestling at the venue and the 16th time for Misawa. This match took place before a Triple Crown title match and an All Japan World Tag Team title match. As already, we see the blazing speed of Misawa early on in this matchup, and then right around the 3-minute mark, we have some miscommunication on the neckbreaker spot, with Kobashi going down too quickly, leading to some audible noise from the crowd. Not a great moment, especially fairly early in the match. Kobashi with some homage to one of his trainers, Tori Fung Jr., with a cool version of the cloverleaf with a nice little knee to the back. Well, somebody really needs to steal that cloverleaf with the knee in the back. That's a great little move. As Kobashi working on the previously torn ACL leg of Misawa, some great psychology. Locks in a figure 4 leg lock to work on that leg even more. Misawa gets the ropes for the rope break. Kobashi goes for the knee breaker, and a crazy athletic counter from Misawa here. Kobashi with an awesome moonsault as Misawa again kicks out. Kobashi goes off the ropes. Misawa sends him into the ropes and then hits a German suplex. Kobashi kicks out at 2. Pretty awesome shot of Misawa countering the top rope drop kick from Kobashi with a drop kick of his own. Not sure about the psychology behind that, but still was a cool shot of the move nonetheless. But Misawa finally gets the win with the Tiger Driver, and which is automatic for him at this point. Would I recommend this match to a newer fan or someone wanting to learn more about Misawa and Kobashi? Probably not. Just because it doesn't show them at their best. But I personally do love this match, and the fact that it's great to show everyone that chemistry sometimes can be learned. These two, at the time, have only wrestled each other twice going into this match. Not every great rivalry shows fantastic chemistry from beginning to end. Sometimes it takes some time working together and growing as performers to create some fantastic stuff, as this match would be one of the final times Misawa wrestles as Tiger Mask in a singles contest, the final time being against Bret Hart at the WWF All Japan New Japan Wrestling Summit show, which was 4 days after Misawa and Kenta Kobashi won the All Asia Tag Team titles from the Kamehameha Express, as this will be the very first time they have won together as a team in a tag match. Later that month, Genichiro Tenryu abruptly leaves All Japan. He disagreed with Baba's creative direction. He was not a fan of the King's Road style. He wanted more of a strong style approach to the All Japan product. Tenryu received a lucrative offer from Hachiro Tanaka, who was the executive of a eyewear company called Megain Super at the time, who had been interested in building his own wrestling promotion, with Tenryu being the big star of this wrestling promotion. under the name Super World of Sports, which led to a mini exodus of talent in the wake of its creation. Since this departure left Jumbo Tsuruta as the only native main event star that All Japan now had, Baba made the decision to turn Mitsuharu Misawa into his new rising star. During the now infamous tag match of Mitsuharu Misawa and Toshiaki Kawada against Yoshiaki Yatsu and Samson Fukai, both of whom would later join SWS, Misawa commanded Kawada to unmask him mid-match and thus abandoning the Tiger Mask gimmick forever. After winning the match, Misawa then challenged Jumbo Tsuruta to a singles matchup. First time Kobashi teams with Misawa without the Tiger Mask gimmick would be in a successful defense of the All-Asia Tag Team titles against Davey Boy Smith and Johnny Smith. After the match, Misawa and Kobashi vacated the titles, which basically was foreshadowing Misawa's main event push, leading to the Misawa-Jumbo feud. Misawa would go on to form the Super Generation Army, which was made up of what would later become the four pillars of All Japan: Mitsuharu Misawa, Kenta Kobashi, Toshiaki Kawada, and Kira Taue, alongside with Tsuyoshi Kikuchi, and later in the following years, adding Jun Akiyama and Satoru Asako, to battle Tsuruta Gun in six-man tags during the Superpower Series, in the build towards the Jumbo Tsuruta Mitsuharu Misawa singles match that would end out the tour in Korakuen Hall. This series of six-man tags are awesome. There was one that took place in Korakuen Hall with Taue, Kobashi, and Misawa against Jumbo, Masanobu Fuchi, and the Great Kabuki. The crowd is electric. Just eats it up. It's one of the best six-man tags you'll ever find in the Japanese Puroresu world. Just unbelievable stuff, and the fire from that crowd, and they were so ready for that match. The Jumbo Tsuruta Mitsuharu Misawa singles match that takes place at the end of the Superpower Series is probably the biggest match in the history of All Japan, and as far as in the history of Japanese Puroresu as a whole. Before the show started, Misawa was supposed to lose to Jumbo Tsuruta. During the event, while talking to a wrestling journalist at the time, Tarzan Yamamoto, Giant Baba changes his decision and puts Mitsuharu Misawa over. House show attendances were up, and Misawa's merch sales went up, and before Baba arrived at the venue, the fans were outside chanting Misawa. The show was about 500 people shy of a sellout, which was a rare feat for All Japan at that time. Baba saw Misawa was going to be the guy and changed it for Misawa to beat Jumbo Tsuruta that night, thus creating amazing business for the next decade, having a sellout event at every Tokyo show for the next 6 years, and turning All Japan Pro Wrestling into a dominant force, and with the making of Mitsuharu Misawa to help elevate now new stars in Toshiaki Kawada, Akira Taue, and Kenta Kobashi for the rest of the decade. Just an unreal decision to take place while the show is going on. But that's Giant Baba for you. Being an unbelievable booker, even understanding that you have to give the people what they want. As for the next time Kenta Kobashi and Mitsuharu Misawa faced off, was the return of the Champion Carnival Tournament in 1991. Their next 4 matches against each other one-on-one will take place at Champion Carnivals. The only footage of this match is from a person in the crowd who brought a camcorder to the show. Not the back in my day, everybody here, but very, very grateful that most of the top Japanese promotions today, everything is filmed. I mean, just about everything is filmed. But back then, if it's not taking place in Tokyo or Osaka, in the early years of Japanese Puroresu, there wasn't going to be a camera crew at that show. So probably wasn't going to get any footage of it. Very lucky for us, though, a fan, a tremendous person from Takamatsu, brought a camcorder to film the first time these two would face off with Misawa donning the green and white. Kobashi does a dive to the floor, not even a full minute in. Gotta love that. That works on the arm when they get back situated into the ring. Kobashi gets out of it and locks in a headlock. Misawa tries a knee break on Kobashi to break the hold, but Kobashi hangs on. Couple of King's Road back suplexes from Misawa. Jesus. German suplex from Misawa gets a 2 count. Kobashi with a moonsault. Misawa gets his foot on the ropes on the count. Falls up with a Tiger suplex again. Misawa kicks out. Kobashi blocks the Tiger Driver, gets a backslide. Misawa kicks out of that. Misawa with another Tiger Driver, and he gets the win. Wild to see that even so early on, Misawa's cool with Kobashi kicking out of the Tiger Driver. This would be the quickest match between these two men, as they're in the history of their singles matches, in the history of their rivalry. Another match I might not recommend to new fans due to being camcorder footage, but very thankful we have the footage of this match. Footage of the first time these two men were to face off, with Misawa being himself and not being under the tiger mask. They would not face each other in 1992, as Kobashi wasn't in that year's Champion Carnival. I feel like Giant Baba was slipping there. But this would be the year Kenta Kobashi would gain 104 wins, which is the most wins in one year for him in his entire career. Mitsuharu Misawa would start his first reign as the Triple Crown Champion, beating Stan Hansen on August 22nd, 1992, which would be his 705-day reign as champion, dropping the belt to Steve Williams in 1994. The 1993 Champion Carnival is where this next match takes place for us. We see some incredible display of athleticism from Kobashi on this leg drop to the back of the head of Misawa, as Kobashi with a powerbomb into the jackknife pin. That gets a 2 count. Kobashi hits a moonsault. Still not enough to put Misawa away. An awesome flying forearm in the corner from Misawa into a Tiger Driver. Kobashi kicks out at 2. Just, my God. As Kobashi plants Misawa with a King's Row back suplex. Around this point, the camera starts shaking from the roar of the crowd. Misawa with another Tiger Driver, and again Kobashi kicks out. Misawa going for the Tiger Driver for a third time. Kobashi looks to counter with a backdrop. Misawa lands on his feet, delivers the Tiger Suplex for a great finish and a great win for Misawa. Now we are starting to get into these two men's peak. It's main event caliber stuff here. This match is awesome. I mean, we're at the very early stages of the 4 pillars just being at their peak, so this is just a great night, too, of showing that, as the co-main event was Akira Taue versus Toshiaki Kawada. Just some great stuff. Awesome stuff. I mean, all Japan at this point is just rolling. And Misawa would end up later on losing the Champion Carnival that year to Stan Hansen, as during this time, Kenta Kobashi and Mitsuharu Misawa would hold the All Japan Tag Team Championships for 532 days, spanning from the end of 1993 to around mid-1995, losing to the Holy Demon Army of Toshiaki Kawada and Akira Taue. Those two teams of Kobashi and Misawa against the Holy Demon Army, they would have some of the greatest tag matches of all time, and especially from 1993 to 1996. Just some of the best stuff ever. I mean, you have to go out of your way to see that. They should have wrestled in 1994's Champion Carnival, but Misawa got hurt and had to forfeit the rest of the tournament. So if I had to guess, I'm sure Kobashi would have actually gotten the win nonetheless if that match would have taken place, but because it's a forfeit, he still gets counted a victory, as this is the first time Kobashi ever beats Misawa, on a, sad note of it being due to forfeit, but for Kenta Kobashi, that's a win nonetheless. So that brings us to our next matchup between these two men, which is the 1995 Champion Carnival. For those keeping track, of the first 5 matches, Misawa's won 4 of them. He's already got the majority, and that one win was just off a forfeit, so he might even pin him and beat him that night, so you never really know. But the crowd right away is all over this one. The crowd, an all-Japan 90s crowd is very tough to beat as far as Japanese Puroresu goes. They are just on fire for just about everything. We really start to see Kobashi's striking game being on display now. Kobashi with some King's Road style backdrops on Misawa, covers him, Misawa gets his foot on the ropes. Kobashi with a fantastic German suplex, still doesn't put away Misawa. A great little spot of Misawa fighting to lock in a sleeper, and then Misawa crossing his leg over Kobashi's shoulders to add another dynamic to the hold. Kobashi's going for the moonsault, and just the sheer desperation of Misawa trying to stop Kobashi. It's to no use though. Kobashi with a leg drop after a body slam that leads into hitting the moonsault. Misawa kicks out. Kobashi goes for it again, but wisely, Misawa rolling out of the way. Kobashi blocks Misawa's spin kick, throws him in for a suplex, a really great spot. Even better knowing Misawa's love for throwing an insecure with that other leg when the opponent catches it. Just you can see that Kobashi knew it was coming and just from the previous matches avoided, so he just throws a fucking suplex, adding another element, having a devastating move onto Misawa as well. Just a great spot. Just love that. Misawa hits a Tiger suplex, Kobashi kicks out. Misawa hits a Tiger driver, and Kobashi kicks out of that too. Misawa floors Kobashi with a rolling elbow, followed up by a Tiger suplex 85, and that is enough to pick up the win. Some really good chemistry now. You're starting to see it come together. The building spots together. Just as from a fan's point of view, now you're even wanting Kobashi to finally get that pin and finally beat Misawa. This is where their rivalry is going to be into hyperspeed now. You're getting into the mid-90s of All Japan. Kobashi's starting to get into his prime. Misawa's already in his prime. you're going to start seeing some great stuff. It's Mitsuharu Misawa afterwards would go on to win the Champion Carnival that year, beating Akira Taue in the finals. And then he would go on to beat Stan Hansen again for the Triple Crown title to start his second reign, which leads us to our next match, where Mitsuharu Misawa looks to defend his championship against Kenta Kobashi. This will be the first time the two men faced each other twice in the same year, and this would be their first ever title match. The event takes place on the final day of the October Giant Series in 1995, and it takes place in Nippon Budokan. The stage is set for these two men to have an absolute war. A fun thing watching all these is seeing the progression of these two men size-wise. Kobashi here is fucking stacked. Right out of the gate, Kobashi murders Misawa with a lariat, and I mean out of nowhere. Kenta Kobashi hits the Orange Crush. Doesn't get all of it though, which gives Misawa a better chance of kicking out. Kobashi then hits a powerbomb on the floor. This man has evil intentions. He is bound and determined to win this Triple Crown Championship and finally pin Misawa. They get back into the ring. Kobashi still puts the pressure on Misawa with chops to the back of the head, and it's a Tiger Suplex 85. Misawa again kicks out. This all happened within the first 5 minutes of this matchup. Just insane. Kobashi's not done. Machine gun chops in the corner to Misawa. We're about 10 minutes in now. Misawa hasn't gotten a single move in on Kobashi. Kobashi's bringing the fire. He's bringing this offense to Misawa. But all we know is the comeback is coming. And we're seeing some devastating knees from Kobashi and strikes. But Misawa refusing to go down. Misawa finally answering with shots, and Misawa with a back suplex. But Kobashi gets right back up. Fighting Spirit only to be sent back down with a running forearm. But again, Kobashi trying to keep control of this matchup, wearing down Misawa with a sleeper. Misawa gets to the ropes, thinking he's safe, but nope. Half Nelson suplex from Kobashi, and back into a sleeper. We're 15 minutes in, and the only big move Misawa has done is the back suplex. The fire and refusal to let Misawa, even getting a hint of offense in on Kobashi. Just some awesome stuff. Misawa tries to get to the ropes, but Kobashi locks his legs around him, forcing a full body sleeper, which drains the life out of Misawa, forcing Kyoei Wada to start the count, which gets to the ropes. Here, wisely rolling out the safety does Mitsuharu Misawa. Kobashi with even more evil intentions, going for a back suplex off the apron, which Kyoei Wada even tries to stop from happening. Misawa getting some more offense in now. Hits a Tiger Driver, which Kobashi kicks out of. Misawa hits a middle rope dropkick, followed by a diving forearm that sends Kobashi to the floor, which leads to the suicide dive from Misawa. This would be one of the first times that we've seen Misawa hit the suicide dive on Kenta Kobashi. That will become a bit of a pattern for this matchup. It's back in the ring. Misawa hits a Tiger Suplex, which Kobashi kicks out of, and Misawa with a unreal release Tiger Suplex that Kobashi sells to perfection, rolling to the floor. That gets some Kobashi chance as he's laying on the floor. Misawa with a rolling elbow that Kobashi sells to perfection yet again. The crowd chanting Kobashi yet again. They want him to beat Misawa just as much as Kobashi wants to beat Misawa at this point. Misawa goes to the spin kick. Kobashi ducks and hits the German suplex. Misawa again kicks out. Kobashi with a hell of a running shoulder block that sends Misawa into the buckle very hard, which Misawa selling brilliantly for a solid minute or so. Kobashi with a powerbomb, but doesn't even have the strength to stand back up or even pin him. Misawa needing the ropes to get back to his feet. And add another powerbomb from Kobashi, this time with a jackknife pin. Misawa again still kicks out. Kobashi with an awesome running leg drop, follows up with a moonsault with an incredible near fall. Misawa kicking out. Kobashi wasting no time, goes for it again as Kyoei Wada is talking to Misawa on the mat, hits another moonsault on Misawa's back, pins him in another incredible kick out. Unreal. That whole sequence, the crowd was going crazy. I was going crazy watching this match back. I was losing my fucking mind watching this. I mean, this was unreal. Just the passion, the energy, it just everything was flowing in this matchup. The story was there. Unreal. We're still not even done. We get a German suplex, fighting spirit spot from Misawa, elbow, fighting spirit from Kobashi, who drop kicks Misawa, pins him, gets a 2 count. Kobashi going for his third powerbomb. Misawa counters into a Rana. Inzu roaring elbow that sends Kobashi down to the mat. Misawa's got to catch his breath at this point, just hanging on the ropes. Looking at this second release Tiger suplex, he hits it, crawls over to make the pin, and Kobashi kicks out. Misawa almost dragging a lifeless Kobashi up to his feet into a disgusting Tiger Driver 91. That's all she wrote. What an incredible match. Dear God, for sure the best match we've seen yet in this rivalry. Just amazing. I mean, that right there. That is why the 90s All Japan Triple Crown title matches were just next level. A phenomenal story being told to the very best of their craft, putting on an incredible display. And funny enough, this match took place the day after I was born, as this would be their longest match yet at 36 minutes. Going into this, if you are not wanting Kenta Kobashi to beat Mitsuharu Misawa here, you are for sure wanting them to finally beat him after it. The chase is on. When Kobashi does beat him, you better believe this place is going to come unglued. Our next match takes place 5 months later at the 1996 Champion Carnival. Couple of shoulder blocks, no one moves spots. Misawa goes to the spin kick, but Kobashi with a duck down runs Misawa over with the shoulder block. Kobashi looking to use the same strategy as he did last match, wanting to wear down Misawa, down with a sleeper, but Misawa sees it coming, hits a back suplex. Misawa goes to the Tiger Driver. Kobashi tries to do a backdrop. Misawa lands on his feet, hits a German suplex that sends Kobashi to the floor, which sets up the suicide dive from Mitsuharu Misawa. Misawa goes for the flying forearm, but Kobashi drop kicks in midair. A very impressive deadlift brainbuster from Kobashi that gets a 2 count. Some awesome trading of strikes between these two men. Kobashi hitting a release German suplex, and we get a fighting spirit spot from Misawa, who floors Kobashi with an elbow. Misawa with a release German suplex of his own. This time, though, Kobashi with the fighting spirit, who floors Misawa with a lariat. Kobashi powerbombs Misawa, which Misawa wisely rolling to the floor. Kobashi sends Misawa into the barricade, looks to powerbomb on the floor, but Misawa counters with a Rana. They get back into the ring. Tiger suplex 85 from Kobashi. Oh shit, and Misawa still kicks out. Misawa's not letting him lose the first time ever to Kenta Kobashi. He's not going to be by his own move. Kobashi hits the Tiger Driver, trying anything at this point to put away Mitsuharu Misawa, and Misawa still kicks out. Kobashi looking to hit the moonsault, but Misawa wisely rolling out of the way after the body slam to get out of harm's way. Misawa starting to fire back with strikes, goes for the spin kick. Kobashi catches it, hits a suplex. Misawa again kicks out. Kobashi hits his moonsault, and that's gotta be it. No, says Mitsuharu Misawa, kicking out again. Kobashi with a sick rolling chop to the neck into a half Nelson suplex. Throws a leg drop to the back of the head for good measure, and again, Mitsuharu Misawa kicks out. Rolling elbow from Misawa into a release Tiger suplex. Both men trying to hit their rolling strikes now. Both men ducking. Misawa with a release suplex and Kobashi kicks out. Misawa hits his Tiger Driver and Kobashi kicks out. What a near fall. I thought that was it right there. Misawa with a sweet diving lariat. And wow. That's it. That is the finish. Misawa wins. One of the first time in this rivalry where a finish does not end the match. By that point, both men had hit each other with just about everything at that point. Plus, it's a Champion Carnival matchup. I'm a sucker for a surprise finish like that. It's always fun, especially when you're getting closer and closer to the time limit draw. You've hit every move. Just about any type of big-time move can lay somebody out with a pin. And there with a diving lariat off the top. I mean, that's just all it took. But I think it was a good idea for a Champion Carnival finish. Now, if this was like a Triple Crown title match finish, I'd probably been like, let's not have that be the finish. But for this setting, I think this set the tone of two men that can throw everything at each other, and sometimes it just takes something like a lariat to beat them. I think King's Road really did a great job at the time establishing that strikes can mean just as much as a finish or move for any of these men. If it's Toshiaki Kawada, Kiritawa, Kenta Kobashi, Mitsuharu Misawa, to beat any of the four, you could do just about anything at that point. When you're 30 minutes in, you've hit all your shit. Misawa would go on to lose his All Japan Triple Crown title to the 1996 Champion Carnival winner, Kiritawa, who avenges his Champion Carnival loss from the previous year against Misawa. In a few months, Kenta Kobashi defeats Kiritawa for his first Triple Crown reign, to which this leads to our next match. On the final night of the 1997 New Year Giant Series, Kenta Kobashi is looking to successfully defend his All Japan Triple Crown Championship against Mitsuharu Misawa. Can Kobashi do what has been impossible for him so far and beat Mitsuharu Misawa in the ring? In a much different tempo to most of their matches we've seen Misawa was the one on the offensive end. To begin the match, hitting a suicide dive not even 2 minutes in. Misawa with a back suplex on Kobashi to bring him into the ring, followed by a senton for good measure. Pins Kobashi, kicks out already. Misawa's looking for the Tiger Driver. We see a great DDT from Kobashi, just driving Misawa headfirst in the mat. Kobashi with multiple rolling chops to the back of the neck of Misawa. Kobashi, for the first time in this rivalry, hits his traditional knees off the ropes into the Russian leg sweep spot. Kobashi's busting out a lot of new stuff that we haven't seen yet from these matches. Here with the front suplex into the bow and arrow lock. Kobashi really targeting Misawa's midsection this match. Shoulders in the midsection in the corner. Not sure what to call what Misawa hits here. It's like a spin kick off the ropes. Just looks so graceful and awesome, though. He probably... once he gets kind of heavier and heavier, I think that move would have been harder to do, but... just awesome stuff there. Butterfly suplex from Misawa, another first for this rivalry, where they are starting to add more elements to their moveset. A great addition, I always thought, for Misawa was adding that butterfly suplex. You're thinking, oh, is it going to be the Tiger Driver? Oh, no, it's butterfly suplex. Just genius stuff where you're, as a fan, you're anticipating what it's going to be. And you're going, oh, no, okay, it's butterfly suplex. Sometimes you can see the butterfly suplex coming, though. Misawa follows up with an elbow off the middle, followed by a frog splash off the top rope, gets a 2 count. Right away, Misawa keeping the pressure on him with a camel clutch. Kobashi lariats Misawa off the apron and into the barricade. Half Nelson suplex from Kobashi, follows up with a Fujiwara armbar. Release German suplex from Misawa that Kobashi sells to perfection. Misawa hits the Tiger Driver. Misawa goes for the drop kick off the top, but Kobashi lariats in midair. Awesome shot of it, too. Kobashi selling his arm, finally gets to Misawa to pin him. He kicks out. Kobashi pins him again with Misawa kicking out. Just awesome, an awesome shot of Misawa shaking his head on the mat after the kick out, too. Really just selling that this man, now that Misawa's the one who's willing to do anything at this point to become Triple Crown Champion again. Just off of instincts at this point, kicking out. Kobashi with a powerbomb into a stacked pin. Misawa kicks out. Orange Crush from Kobashi. Misawa kicks out. Insane spot here. Kobashi goes to powerbomb Misawa off the apron, but Misawa counters with a run and sending both men to the floor. This was almost 24 years ago. Revolutionary shit these two men were doing. Just unreal. Misawa goes for the German suplex, but let's go selling that arm. Multiple spinning elbows from Misawa. Kind of wish it wasn't the same arm that's being worked with, but it is what it is. That's the arm that's got the elbow pad. That just kind of is what it is. Goes for the third time, but Kobashi lariats the arm with just a great variation of a block by doing an offensive move. Release German suplex from Kobashi. Enzu spinning elbow from Misawa. Kobashi fighting for the ropes in desperation of not wanting to get Tiger suplex, but Misawa throws him anyways with a release Tiger suplex. Misawa ducks the rolling chops. Hits Tiger Driver 91, and Kobashi kicks out. Oh, fuck. Release Tiger Suplex 85. A running elbow from Misawa, and he wins it after 42 minutes. Mitsuharu Misawa beats Kenta Kobashi to start his third reign as the All Japan Triple Crown Champion. Our first title change of the rivalry. Now, the longest match of the rivalry. With what a contest. I still think the best match we've seen so far is the 95 title match. But I love the Rana counter apron spot and Kobashi kicking out of the Tiger Driver 91. Another time where I'm okay with a simple finish with the running elbow. We're 42 minutes in at that point. Misawa's pretty much hit everything, and he's barely got any arm strength to fully hit a Tiger Driver, so opting out for a running elbow gets the job done. Again, don't love that it's the same arm that's being worked on throughout the match, and he's selling when he's trying to do Tiger Drivers and stuff, but I get it. That's his throwing elbow fucking arm, so it's tough to, change it up, especially with the elbow pad being on there, for protection's sake at this point. So now we're 8 matches in, and we are still waiting for that moment of Kenta Kobashi pinning Mitsuharu Misawa. The next match these two face off in is in the 1997 Champion Carnival, and there's no footage of this match. And wouldn't you know it, it's when Kenta Kobashi gets his first pinfall win over Mitsuharu Misawa. Kobashi, finally, after 7 years of facing this man, he finally beats him and there's no footage. It's a goddamn shame. If someone at the Nagaoka Welfare Hall brought a camcorder into the venue, they would have been a hero. I can only imagine that place went nuts. We will never know, though. We just know that Kenta Kobashi beats Mitsuharu Misawa in 24 minutes. We don't even know what the finish is. Widely enough, Misawa and Kobashi did have another match during the Champion Carnival, though. That year, Kenta Kobashi, Mitsuharu Misawa, Toshiaki Kawada all tied for first with 19 points. So they had to do a tiebreaker show at Nippon Budokan, which leads us to our next match. We get a quick start with arm drags and rolling chops from Kobashi. Kobashi goes for a powerbomb. Misawa counters with a Rana. Kobashi goes for the flying shoulder tackle that gets countered with an elbow to the jaw. Misawa with a springboard tornillo. Pretty awesome to see here. I mean, Misawa, this isn't Tiger Mask 2. Misawa, this is, 1997. This is his third time he's the Triple Crown champion. He's still pulling out some awesome athletic stuff. That was the great thing about Misawa, is even for his size at the point where he was kind of getting up into the 240s, 250 range, he was still able to do a lot of highly athletic stuff. Mitsuharu Misawa with a gorgeous drop kick off the top, just picturesque. A perfect bridge from a German suplex by Kenta Kobashi, gets a 2 count. Misawa goes for a spin kick, Kobashi catches it, suplexes him, gets a 2 count. Right out of the kick out, a sleeve roll with a body scissors. We get a suicide dive from Misawa. What an awesome cannonball from Misawa off the top rope on Kobashi. Misawa's really busting on all the high flying here. Frog splash from Misawa. Kobashi kicks out at 2. Diving falling layered from the middle rope from Misawa. Kobashi with a release German suplex. Powerbomb with a jackknife pin, and Misawa kicks out at multiple release tiger suplexes, and Kobashi kicks out in an incredible near fall. Tiger driver from Misawa, and again Kobashi kicks out. What a fucking capo kick from Misawa, which leads to a tiger driver. Again, what a masterful kick out. I haven't brought it up yet, but the greatness of Kyo Iwata in this. I mean, this man is simply the greatest Japanese Puroresu referee of all time. And to be a part of these great matches, he really adds that element of adding into the near falls and stuff. Just a great job. Misawa goes for the running elbow, but instead runs into a layer from Kobashi. Falling powerbomb from Kobashi. Orange Crush from Kobashi. Takes an extra second to cover Misawa, which leads to the kick out. Kobashi with a DDT that's more focused on the shoulder of Misawa. Kobashi goes for the lariat. It's blocked by Misawa, but Kobashi gets the cover. 1-2. Misawa gets his foot on the ropes, and the timekeeper rings the bell. I'll be damned. We get a draw. Unreal. Our first draw of the series. This would lead to Kawada facing Misawa right afterwards, which he would beat him in 6 minutes, thanks to the draw, the 30-minute draw they just had with Kobashi, and then he would beat Kobashi later on that night to win the Champion Carnival. So in the year 1997, so far they've had 3 matches. 1 win for Misawa, 1 win for Kobashi, and now the draw. We gotta have the 4th match. And they do, at the October Giant Series for the Triple Crown title. Mitsuharu Misawa is looking to defend his championship like he did at the 95 October Giant Series against Kenta Kobashi. Early on in the matchup, Kenta Kobashi with his suplex after catching Misawa's spin kick, throwing him with a half-and-half suplex. Kobashi goes for the powerbomb on the floor. Misawa counters. Misawa with an awesome flying lariat that he would twist out of. I always love that. Just love this. Just a slight variation to hit that flying lariat and to hit the twist afterwards. Just unreal. Middle rope elbow drop from Misawa. That leads to a 2 count. Misawa with a back elbow off the buckle. Sends Kobashi to the floor with a drop kick. You know what's coming. It's a suicide dive from Misawa. Misawa with a great top rope drop kick. Kobashi with a crazy crossbody on Misawa, who's on the floor on the outside. Kobashi just chopping the shit out of Misawa at this point. Sends him into the corner. Misawa stops at the buckle, turns around into a falling lariat. Kobashi locks in the sleeper with a body scissors, and Misawa barely gets to the ropes in time before he has to tap out. Kyo Iwata tries to muscle Kobashi off him. Good luck with that. A fun little spot of Kobashi throwing Misawa into the ring, only for Misawa to just roll right back out. Kobashi with a powerbomb. Misawa counters the Rana. Kobashi goes for it again, hits it, and gets a jackknife pin. Misawa kicks out. Kobashi catches the kick from Misawa, who has a sick kick on the one leg still planted on the mat. Just, that was always such a great, Misawa, how he could evolve his moveset and just go, alright, if someone's going to catch this, I'm just going to throw the leg here. The way he would improve his moveset and just kind of improve just with wisdom and with age, just seeing how he would wrestle, hundreds of matches a year, and then having those circumstances where it's like, all right, if someone catches the kick, I'm just going to throw a kick, with my planted leg. Just great stuff. It's just that type of moveset psychology that don't really see, like, in the States or anything. Very rarely do you see it. Especially when you get to kind of see the progression throughout the years. It's just awesome. Just awesome stuff. Misawa with a flying forearm to the floor on Kobashi. Misawa with a butterfly suplex and then nails the splash off the top rope. Kobashi kicks out at 2. Misawa hits the tiger driver and again Kobashi kicks out. Kobashi with a release German suplex fighting spear from Misawa. But Kobashi puts that fire right out with a sleeper. That's just some great stuff. You know, the fire from the crowd, and as you're seeing, looks like Misawa's going to hit the elbow, but Kobashi locks in the sleeper to cut him off. Great stuff. Kobashi with the buckle bomb on Misawa. Kobashi follows up with 2 half Nelson suplexes, pins Misawa. Misawa gets his feet on the ropes. Misawa's ring presence is just awesome. He's so great at using rope breaks at the right time in a match where it's not really going to take away from anything. It's not going to be like a boring takeaway, like, oh, I just had his feet on his rope. Makes it a big deal when there's making another gasp from the crowd. It's like, oh shit, just using the ring presence and using the ring to help tell your story too. Just another great job there, just seeing how great these guys are. Hits the moonsault off the top, and Misawa kicks out. Kobashi pins him again right afterwards, and Misawa again kicks out. Forearm into a capo kick from Misawa, follows up with a Tiger Suplex 85. Doesn't keep the bridge, however. A fantastic spot of both men going from corner to corner, running full speed, hitting each other with their best running strike, colliding. And the place just comes unglued. Just unreal. Tiger Suplex 85. Fighting Spear from Kobashi, who gets dropped with a spinning elbow. Tiger Driver, and Kobashi kicks out now. Just insane ending sequence here. Both men hitting their best strikes. Neither man falling. Kobashi with a lariat finally sends Misawa down, pins him. Misawa kicks out at 2, another capo kick, but this time from Kobashi. Holy shit. Misawa floors up with another elbow and just perfect false finish. Kobashi kicking out at fucking 2.99. Tiger Driver 91 from Misawa. Misawa crawling to make the cover. No kick out this time though for Kobashi. Unreal. What a match, my opinion. Best match yet we've seen for this rivalry. I think this tops the 95 title match. Just awesome stuff. Like that last ending sequence, that last, 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Just unreal. The energy from the crowd, both men just doing unreal stuff. The spot where they're running from corner to corner and colliding with their best strike, just trying to be the better man. Yeah, awesome. It's simple, but that's the great thing about Japanese Puroresu, where the strikes matter just as much as the moves. When you can do stuff like that, and the crowd can sense that victory is near for one of these two men, and they can just hit their big move. It's all over. Awesome stuff. Their first match of 1998 takes place at the Champion Carnival, and you could have guessed it. No footage for this one. We just know Misawa beats Kobashi in 25 minutes. Right on the dot, too, at 25 minutes and 0 seconds. Highly impressive. Misawa would go on to win that Champion Carnival. That'd be the second time in his career. He would go on to lose his Triple Crown Championship to Toshiaki Kawada at All Japan's 25th anniversary show, which was the first time All Japan ran a show at the Tokyo Dome, ending his 466-day reign as champion. Misawa went into that match with 2 blown knees, a bad back, and a bad neck. He suffered a concussion during the match and couldn't remember the finish after it happened. Misawa would take some time off to heal, while Kawada would only hold the belt for a month, dropping it to Kenta Kobashi, starting his second reign, and you already know what's going to happen. Kenta Kobashi is looking to defend his championship against Mitsuharu Misawa at the October Giant Series on Halloween night, 1998. Misawa goes for the leapfrog. Kobashi catches him midair for the power slam. Kobashi with just one knee off the ropes and opts for the stalling brainbuster instead of the Russian leg sweep. Awesome spot of Misawa and Kobashi trading shots. Kobashi getting pissed and just destroys him. Misawa with a great drop kick off the top rope. Kobashi with fighting spirit but gets shut down by Misawa. Springboard tornado from Misawa back in the ring with a cannonball off the top. Misawa going for the flying forearm off the apron. Kobashi counters with a drop kick. Kobashi with some King's Road back suplexes on Misawa. Kobashi with a released German suplex. Kobashi goes for the powerbomb. Misawa counters with a Rana. But Kobashi blocks it with a Boston Crab again. The evolution of spots. And Misawa's hit that run off the counter from the powerbomb multiple times. And Kobashi, sensing it, locking in a Boston Crab to stop it. Just great stuff. Kobashi catches the spin kick. Enziguri, though, from Misawa off the planted leg. Suicide dive from Misawa. Flying shoulder block from Misawa. Release German suplex from Misawa. Fighting spirit from Kobashi. Goes for the running flying shoulder block. And just eats a perfect elbow from Misawa. The camera angle, too, for that was incredible. The crowd lost their minds during that, too. Misawa, the splash from the top rope. Kobashi kicks out. Jesus, another King's Road suplex from Kobashi on Misawa. Kobashi now with a crazy deadly looking buckle bomb. Tiger suplex 85 from Kobashi. Misawa kicks out at 2. Misawa spins into a lariat. Kobashi with the orange crush. Misawa kicks out at 2. And we see for the first time Kobashi attempting the burning hammer on Misawa. And for Misawa's sake, luckily, he gets out of it. But Misawa gets killed. And somehow, Misawa kicks out at 2. The place was going nuclear for that whole sequence. It was just awesome. Oh shit, what a leg drop from the top to the back of the head of Misawa. And again, Misawa kicks out. Kobashi goes for another buckle bomb, but Misawa counters the Rana, sending Kobashi into the corner. Dear God in heaven. Misawa with a Tiger Driver off the apron. The craziest shit we've seen so far from these two. Rolling elbow from Misawa into multiple capo kicks. Tiger Driver 91. Misawa doesn't have the energy, though, for the pin. A couple of spinning elbows from Misawa that Kobashi sells brilliantly. Just, if you want to study how to take an elbow, just watch Kenta Kobashi. Just perfect every time. And also, Kobashi kicking out at 2. Tiger suplex from Misawa. Kobashi kicks out again. Misawa now just fucking clobbers Kobashi with 2 elbows. Repeated shots to the head that floor him. Misawa pins him. 1, 2, 3. Misawa gets the win. We have a new Triple Crown champion, starting his 4th reign and our 2nd title change. This match is fucking crazy, like the rest of them. No other way of going around it. I mean, that insane Tiger Driver off the apron highlighted the match for sure. Would have loved Misawa not getting dropped on his head multiple times this matchup, as we know how his life gets cut short because of these matches and because of some of these bumps. So that would have been great to cut those out. This finish really puts it over the top for me. It's so memorable and violent. I mean, really proving that strikes can be just as credible as a finish as moves can be. Just 2 deadly shots and Kobashi just falls like he just got hit with a ton of bricks. Awesome stuff. So significant changes will happen to All Japan at this point. Giant Baba passes away on January 31st, 1999. Misawa becomes company president, and he had been the head booker for several months before that point. Giant Baba's widow, Motoko, held 85% of All Japan's shares, with Nippon TV holding the other 15%. There were reports of a quiet power struggle between Misawa and Motoko in March of 99, and Jumbo Tsuruta confirmed this when he left Japan for Portland, Oregon at that time. In fact, the two had had professional tensions long before Mr. Baba's passing. Motoko had opposed the decision to push Misawa in the wake of Junichiro Tenryu's departure back in 1990. The two began conflicting as early as 1996. And the year before Giant Baba's death, Misawa even asked him on behalf of the rest of the locker room to have his wife leave the company. He was somewhat successful in that she ceased to have any creative influence when Misawa became the head of booking for All Japan. Misawa attempted to keep her content by maintaining her the same salary that she had been paid when her husband was still alive, which was approximately $500,000 US. But since she was the majority shareholder, this did not change the power dynamic. Misawa's wish to change All Japan's product and to modernize its presentation to address their box office troubles ran into direct opposition to what Mrs. Baba's intent to maintain her late husband's booking philosophy. Misawa was particularly intent on pushing the company's younger talent. In September of 99, he and Motoko had a major fight over the decision to have Jun Akiyama and Takeo Omori headline a Budokan show, which had sold out, although this match's placement had been decided by a fan vote. Motoko's conservatism was partially due to her belief that the company, and Japanese Puroresu as a whole, had fallen from its peak. Misawa was also angry with Motoko over fiscal matters, like how he discovered that much of the company's merchandise sales did not produce any money for All Japan, but for a subsidized company that she had set up to grow her own funds. At some point in 1999, Misawa approaches Nippon TV with his plans to leave All Japan to start a new promotion, and told them that nearly everyone in the locker room would follow him. Nippon TV officials sided with Misawa in this dispute, but told them that they needed to keep their agreement quiet for at least a year after their meeting due to the proximity of Giant Baba's death. The station wanted to wait until enough time had passed to drop All Japan's television program, which, can you imagine if that would have happened right after Giant Baba passes? They get dropped from their TV station. Nippon TV was also closely associated with All Japan since its formation. Kenta Kobashi and Mitsuharu Misawa would have 2 matches in 1999, the first being in a Champion Carnival match, where Kenta Kobashi won, and you guessed right, no footage of this. So, in Kenta Kobashi's 3 wins over Mitsuharu Misawa, 2 of them haven't been on footage, and the one was a forfeit win in a Champion Carnival setting. Unreal timing for this man. This leads us to what would be their final Triple Crown title matchup for the final time between these 2 men. Kenta Kobashi is looking to dethrone the champion, Mitsuharu Misawa, and for the first time at the Superpower Series and the Pon Budokan. Right out of the lockup, Kobashi with a perfect armbar. Picture perfect. This might be my favorite start so far in the match between these 2. It's 10 minutes of these 2 just trying to one-up each other with wrestling holds and wrestling submissions. These 2 arguably at the best at their craft, going back to the basics of what wrestling is all about. Stuff like Kenta Kobashi using his strength to force Misawa into a bridge. Stuff that's not flashy, but it's great for displaying what wrestling truly is, and that's just 2 men trying to one-up each other with wrestling holds in an athletic contest. 11 minutes in, we get a suplex. We get a gut-wrench suplex from Misawa that gets a 2 count. Kobashi and Misawa start trading chops and elbows. Kobashi dropping Misawa after 3 rolling chops. Kobashi with his knees off the rope spot, but instead of the Russian leg sweep, goes for the gut buster. Then locks in a Boston Crab on Misawa, who gets to the ropes. A front vertical suplex from Kobashi gets a 2 count. Misawa with a senton on Kobashi. Misawa going for the suicide dive here. No, he does not. The rope flip feint goes for the running elbow off the apron, but Kobashi sees it coming. Counters with a power slam again. Misawa's genius of that rope flip feint. He would, that was really a thing he would do a lot of times as Tiger Mask. But to keep that into his arsenal when he became heavyweight ace of all Japan, just genius stuff like that. When you could set up the suicide dive, then you have the rope flip feed into that. Just adds a whole other layer to it. Another great armbar from Kobashi as Misawa frantically and desperately tries to get to the ropes. He finally does. Misawa hits the suicide dive, falls up with a great top rope drop kick. Splash from Misawa gets a 2 count. Misawa goes to the Tiger Driver. Can't complete the move though, due to the arm pain, so again, kind of playing off what happened in another Triple Crown title match. So he saw that was such a great strategy the last time, and he's like, I'm going to beat this motherfucker. Fine, I'm going to beat him in the title match. So I'm going to keep working on that arm. That seemed to work well the last time I did it. So Misawa was selling his arm. That just stuff will never get old, and it's just such an easy story to tell when you're going for a move, and you just, you gotta, let him go, and he takes the bump to sell. Misawa looking to hit the Tiger Driver off the apron, but Kobashi counters back with dropping Misawa on the apron. Half Nelson suplex from Kobashi on the floor. German suplex from Kobashi. Misawa kicks out. Kobashi with the powerbomb on Misawa. Rolls him over. Looking for it again. And not sure if Kobashi was just trying to drop him on the ropes or if he just tried to drop him. Either way, doesn't fully hit it. Orange Crush from Kobashi. Misawa kicks out. Kobashi hits the moonsault. Misawa again kicks out. Kobashi goes for the lariat. Misawa ducks it. Inzu lariat from Kobashi. Kobashi setting up for that burning hammer again. And Misawa fighting for dear life. He knows what's happening. He's already been hit with that move twice at that point in tag matches. So he knows just how lethal and dangerous that move is. Kobashi instead opts for the burning lariat off the top rope. And Misawa wisely using the ropes to break up the pin yet again. Kobashi looking to powerbomb Misawa into the barricade, but Misawa counters with a Rana into the barricade. Running knee in the corner from Kobashi, release German suplex from Misawa. Kobashi going for the lariat in the corner, but Misawa blocks it, gets his arms up. Tiger suplex from Misawa gets a 2 count. Running elbow from Misawa. Tiger Driver 91, Misawa flops on top of Kobashi for the cover. Kobashi kicks out twice now. Kobashi's kicked out of the Tiger Driver 91 in this series of one-on-one matches. Lariat from Kobashi. Misawa again kicks out. Elbow from Misawa. Kobashi still firing up. He runs into a rolling elbow that floors him. Just love that spot to death. When anybody would be fired up on Misawa just lay him down with that rolling elbow. Just such a awesome strike. Misawa with a twisting senton off the middle rope. What the fuck? Just, again, Misawa showing that athleticism. They could still do it, even in 1999. Tiger suplex 85. Kobashi kicks out for the first time in this rivalry. Emerald Flosion from Misawa. And that is all she wrote. What a fucking match. From beginning to end, This is now my favorite match in the rivalry up at this point. It's such a great match. This would be their longest match yet, beating out the 98 Triple Crown title match by just 11 seconds. This leads us to the final time these two men faced off in an All Japan ring. The 2000 Champion Carnival. Mitsuharu Misawa changed the Champion Carnival from a round-robin tournament to a single-elimination tournament for the first time since 1974. Kenta Kobashi and Mitsuharu Misawa met in the semifinals, with the winner going on to face Takeo and Mori in the finals. And more importantly, we have footage of this. It's been a hot minute since we've seen these two in a Champion Carnival setting, and would have sucked to not been able to see their final All-Japan singles match, but we got it. Thank Christ. It was a tremendous sequence early on this match that ends with a released German suplex from Misawa, followed by a suicide dive. Diving top rope drop kick from Misawa, followed by a belly-to-belly suplex from Misawa. Gotta love a belly-to-belly suplex, even though Misawa's is not really the best, I'll be honest. Cannonball off the top of Misawa. Misawa drops Kobashi with an elbow, follows it up with a senton. Flying Laird from Misawa, followed by a basement dropkick that sends Kobashi to the outside. Are we going to see another suicide dive? No, Misawa with the rope feint, but Kobashi wisely catching him and dropping him. Misawa getting whipped into the barricade multiple times by Kobashi. Stalling brainbuster from Kobashi once they come back into the ring. DDT from Kobashi, who locks Misawa into a guillotine. Always love that transition. When you do a DDT into a guillotine, get a fan out of me. Big leg drop from Kobashi, gets a 2 count. Machine gun chops from Kobashi. A released German suplex from Kobashi that Misawa just eats shit on. Kobashi going for the powerbomb. Misawa counters. Misawa elbows Kobashi off the apron, hits a spinning tornillo. Kobashi goes to attack off the apron, but Misawa counters with an elbow. Splash from Misawa off the top rope. That gets a 2 count. Butterfly suplex from Misawa into a German suplex with a bridge. That gets a 2 count. Misawa with a couple kick to the shoulder of Kobashi into a Tiger Driver. Kobashi kicks out. Half Nelson suplex from Kobashi. Kobashi with the Orange Crush on Misawa. Misawa kicks out. Spinning chop from Kobashi leads to another attempt at the Burning Hammer. Misawa escapes death yet again. Tiger suplex from Misawa. Kobashi kicks out. Kobashi counters the Emerald Fusion with a reverse DDT. Misawa with a great counter to a lariat with an elbow. Kobashi locks in the sleeper and suplexes him. Running Inzu lariat that sends Misawa into the corner and quickly hits the running lariat as Kobashi. 1, 2, 3. 10 years of these two wrestling, we finally see for the first time on film Kenta Kobashi beating his rival Mitsuharu Misawa. The match obviously can't compare to what their All Japan Triple Crown title matches were at that time, but certainly not a bad match. And also, too, this would be the last time Kyo Iwata would referee a match between these two in a one-on-one setting. The end of the fiscal year, on March 31st, 2000, all of All Japan's talent were working as free agents. Since Misawa was not authorized to give raises, he intended to award all the native wrestlers. He also wanted to modernize their contracts, providing wrestlers with full medical coverage, full injury pay, and possible stock options, which New Japan's contracts at the time offered. As a result of these disagreements, the All Japan Pro Wrestling Executive Board voted to remove Misawa from the presidential position on May 28th, 2000. All parties agreed to keep this news private until the end of the current tour, and Misawa attempted to persuade Motoko to give him her public blessing to start a new company, so as to smooth the public transition and preserve the legacies of Giant Baba, at the time, the recently deceased Jumbo Tsuruta. Motoko refused this proposal or any relinquishment of any of her majority shares, and so Tokyo Sports broke the news on June 12th, 2000, that Misawa is leaving and forming a new promotion. At an emergency board meeting held in response to that Tokyo Sports news break, on the next day, co-president Mitsuya Momoto and fellow board members Kenta Kobashi, Kira Taue, Kenichi Oagi, and Yoshihiro Momoto collectively resigned from their positions, and on June 16th, Misawa led a press conference in which he was accompanied by all of All Japan's native workers except for Toshiaki Kawada, Masanobu Fuchi. He announced that after finishing their last commitments to All Japan in July, all 23 who accompanied him at the press conference would depart with Mitsuharu Misawa to form a new promotion in August. The next day, Misawa announced the name of the new promotion, Pro Wrestling Noah. And on June 20th, Misawa met with Nippon TV officials who had canceled All Japan's television program, secured a time slot for Noah programming. And on July 20th, he wrestled his last All Japan match at the time, which he and Yoshinari Ogawa won against Akira Toei and Masao Inoue in a tag team match. And Kenta Kobashi's last All Japan matchup at that time was on June 9th in Budokan, losing to Jun Akiyama and Mossman in a tag match with Kentaro Shiga. This leads us to the arc. We're going green! Pro Wrestling Noah, March 1st, 2003, and Navigate for Evolution, our next matchup between these two men. In a single setting, Mitsuharu Misawa looks to defend his GHC heavyweight title against Kenta Kobashi. In front of a sold-out Budokan, under a new promotion, for a promotion that's just 3 years in to its infancy. Kenta Kobashi would wrestle 103 times in Nippon Budokan over his legendary career. Mitsuharu Misawa would wrestle 119 times in Nippon Budokan in his legendary career. But widely enough, take away his times where he wrestled as Tiger Mask, it would also be 103 times. Funny how that number can sync up like that for those two. They would wrestle 23 times in the same match at a Budokan event, 11 times as partners, 12 times as opponents, and again, take away the Tiger Mask match, it's 11 and 11. The similarities these two men shared is just wild. These two men really built that place in the Nippon Budokan as a mecca for Japanese Puroresu. And just the history of Japanese Puroresu is synonymous with a lot of venues. Tokyo Dome, the National Stadium, Nippon Budokan. It's because of those men. Truly, I mean, what All Japan did in the late 80s and into the 90s made that place matter. And these two men played a huge part in that. And now, for their swan song, that would be the last time these two wrestled in Nippon Budokan against each other one-on-one. If you're a Japanese Puroresu fan, you already know about this match. And if you don't, just fucking buckle up for this one. Kobashi, right out of the gate, tries to decapitate Misawa with a spitting chop. And just a beautiful opening sequence really sets the tone that these two men are no strangers to each other. Misawa with a fireman's carry, starts working on an arm, gets some great chain wrestling from these two men, with Misawa coming out on the winning end of it. Misawa with a fucking wild suplex, Kobashi just eats it. Flying elbow off the top rope to the floor from Misawa. Running cannonball off the apron from Misawa. Misawa, who's almost in his 40s at this point, he's 39 years old, still picture-perfect top rope dropkick. Misawa with a top rope splash, Kobashi kicks out at 2. Kobashi with a flying shoulder tackle, Misawa counters with an elbow. Misawa with a baseball slide that sends Kobashi into the barricade. Are we going to see the suicide dive? No! Feint from Misawa, goes for the flying forearm off the apron. Kobashi just sidesteps him and sends him into the barricade. What a spot. Misawa just nasty, eating it face first into the barricade. Awesome stuff. Kobashi with a half Nelson suplex on the floor. Delayed front vertical suplex from Misawa. Misawa's starting to bleed around this point. Kobashi basically hits a running famouser with a leg drop to a bent over Misawa to the back of the head. Kobashi sends Misawa onto the ramp. You already know this is going to end bad for someone. DDT on the ramp for Kobashi. They get back into the ring. Chops from Kobashi. Misawa goes for a monkey flip. Kobashi counters, dropping him face first on the buckle, followed by a couple of half Nelson suplexes from Kobashi, and Kobashi with a seated full Nelson into a body scissors. What a great move. A more deadly version of the variation we've seen in previous matches, where instead of the sleep of the body scissors, fucking full Nelson with the body scissors. Great stuff. Kobashi with chops. Misawa fires up. Just an electric close-up shot of a bloody chinned Misawa talking shit as they're about to throw some more strikes. Release German suplex from Misawa. Fighting spear from Kobashi. Release Tiger suplex. And again, fighting spear from Kobashi. What a moment as they trade shots with Misawa hitting an elbow and dropping down to his hands and knees after hitting it. It took everything out of him to throw that elbow shot. Capo kick from Misawa. Follows up with a Tiger driver. Kobashi kicks out. Tiger suplex 85 from Misawa. Kobashi again kicks out. Another Tiger driver from Misawa. And again, Kobashi kicks out. Kobashi drops down out of the air, more frozen, runs Misawa into the buckle, half Nelson suplex, fighting spear from Misawa, runs at Kobashi, who cuts him off with a sleeper and hits a sleeper suplex. Just, again, Kobashi did such a great job in previous matches of when Misawa would fire up or he would try to start doing something with a running move, Kobashi would cut him off with that sleeper, then adding another variation to that by throwing a sleeper suplex in there. Great stuff. Misawa goes for a move off the middle buckle, but Kobashi hits an Inzu lariat midair. Not sure what Misawa was going for, but awesome that Kobashi hits an Inzu lariat midair. Covers him, Misawa kicks out. Misawa with a suplex, sending Kobashi out of the ring and onto the ramp. Misawa with maybe his coolest dive ever. Suicide dive to Kobashi, who's kneeling on the ramp. So awesome. Misawa goes for what would have been instant death with a Tiger Driver off the ramp. Kobashi blocks it, only for Misawa to hit a release Tiger Suplex off the ramp. This is probably the greatest spot in Japanese Pro Wrestling history. It's just beyond iconic of a spot at this point. I mean, when you think of Japanese Pro Wrestling matches like this spot, and obviously this match, come right to my mind. But just, this is unreal. And with what they were doing with like moves off the apron and moves on the apron, what the All Japan 4 Pillars were doing, really paved the way to what so many Japanese Pro Wrestling guys want to do now. I mean, this spot's just fucking crazy. A couple of spinning back elbows from Misawa. What a great stuff from Kobashi, just bouncing off the ropes, off of just pure instinct. Gets hit with an Emerald Explosion. Kobashi kicks out. Kobashi with an amazing brainbuster. Misawa somehow kicks out. Kobashi gets Misawa up, picks him up into the Burning Hammer, and hits it. We have a new GHC Heavyweight Champion, and Kenta Kobashi, for the first time, beat Mitsuharu Misawa for a championship. This will be the 4th out of 7 times Kenta Kobashi hits the Burning Hammer. And it will be the 3rd and final time, Misawa takes the Burning Hammer. Nobody's eaten more of Kobashi's Burning Hammers more times than Misawa. It's so crazy how just even the build up to Kobashi hitting this Burning Hammer, in the previous singles matches they've had, he's tried it a couple of times, but every time Misawa in singles matches just manages to come out of it. The previous match, he tried it on Misawa, didn't hit it, but he still got to pull away with the win, and for the first time we got to see him pulling out the win against Mitsuharu Misawa on the big stage. For the first time, beating Mitsuharu Misawa in a title match. It took Kenta Kobashi to create the most devastating move of all time in Japanese Pro Wrestling history. And he hit Misawa with it during a title match to finally do it. Like, that's unreal storytelling. Plus, this is the first time Kenta Kobashi beats Mitsuharu Misawa in the Pon Budokan. The level of storytelling that takes is simply out of this world. This match is quite simply perfect in every way. 13 years of history is what this match is built on. And it creates the greatest championship title reign of all time with Kenta Kobashi's GHC title reign. In my opinion, this is the greatest match of all time. I think it's justifiably speaking the greatest Japanese Pro Wrestling heavyweight match of all time. I think that's undeniable. It has everything. It's perfect. It will stand the test of time forever. It's a flag bearer of what Japanese Pro Wrestling greatness is all about. And what many think is the first time and only time they have faced off one-on-one in Pro Wrestling Noah, and the final time they faced off one-on-one. It's funny that this is not common knowledge, but it's actually not. Christmas Eve, 2004, Noah ran a TV special show called Noah Full Gift in Differ, in which Kenta Kobashi wrestled Mitsuharu Misawa in the opener with a 10-minute time limit. I know it probably just ruined a lot of people's thoughts and perspectives on this rivalry with that. While the GHC Heavyweight title match should be the ultimate in-game for the feud and for their rivalry, it's technically not their last match. I like to think of it that this is a wrestling exhibition match, this little Christmas Eve match with a 10-minute time limit. You could probably see the finish coming, with it being a 10-minute time limit, and they've never had a match finish before 10 minutes. It's going to end in a draw, and it does, which would bring their singles record against each other to 11-5-2. 11 wins for Misawa, 5 wins for Kobashi, 2 draws. Even with it slanted heavy in Misawa's favor winning-wise, I think that goes to show the power of how awesome Kenta Kobashi is and was as a babyface. The chase of Kenta Kobashi finally beating Misawa at the big stage really fuels this, with the addition of them developing and creating some of the greatest matches of all time along the way, especially during that time in the mid-90s and the early 2000s with the GHC heavyweight title matchup. Thank you all for watching. I know it's an hour. We're an hour in, but I had to relive this, and it was such a fun time to go into the time machine and really watch. There'd be times where I'd watch maybe a couple, but I sat down and watched all of them, back to back to back, which, over, I think I broke it up into 2 days, 2 or 3 days, and it was awesome to see the progression, to see everything, to see how they started from 3 minutes into their first ever match, fucking up a neckbreaker spot, to by the end of it, having what many considered some of the greatest matches of all time, and in my opinion, still, that Chase heavyweight title match, the greatest match of all time. I hope you got to relive or learn a thing or two about this great rivalry. If you go to cagematch.net, you will actually find their list is kind of fucked up. It's kind of off when you go to it. If you kind of search for an event and you just search for Kenta Kobashi, Mitsuharu Misawa, it's missing 3 matches. It's going to miss the Christmas Eve match. It's going to miss the draw, the Nippon Budokan 30-minute draw, and plus it's going to miss the Tiger Mask 2 Kenta Kobashi match because, Misawa was built under Tiger Mask, so you'd have to search it under Tiger Mask. It's the whole thing. So I just wanted to give a bit of a warning out there in case you were trying to look up these matches to see them in their entirety. Almost all of them are on YouTube if you want to check them out. I know a good bit of them are, so that's just incredible to be able to watch those, just thanks to YouTube. But, this was a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you next time